Digital nomad cities are often ranked based on Instagram aesthetics and beach vibes. I'm ranking them on stuff that actually affects your life as a digital nomad. Did my Wi-Fi die during a work call? Did the power stay on at night? Could I afford to eat well? I've lived in 14 cities for at least one consecutive month each over the last 12 years. One of them only scores a 2 out of 10 on my ranking, and it taught me an important lesson about choosing where to work remotely. Before we jump in, here's how I'm ranking these cities. I'm looking at safety, Wi-Fi and work setup, cost, community, livability, and overall experience. Safety means I can walk home at night without thinking about it too much. Wi-Fi means I never drop a work call. Cost is my overall monthly budget, not just accommodation. Community is whether I can find other nomads easily. Livability is the daily stuff. Can I walk to the grocery store? Do I need a car? Can I establish routines easily? And overall experience is how it fits all together. These rankings reflect my priorities in my current season of life. Your perfect 10 might be my 7. And that's okay. Different stages of nomadic life and different priorities need different things. So keep that in mind as we go through these. Let's start with my number 1, Bansko, Bulgaria. I've been back for 4 consecutive summers and I'm planning my 5th for 2026. It's the place I've spent the most time abroad and the only one that checks every box for me. My 1-bedroom apartment costs €460 per month. And my total monthly budget here is typically under $2,000. The Wi-Fi is excellent. I've never had a dropped call. It's very safe and the town center is completely walkable. Plus, there's a strong digital nomad community here year-round, peaking in the summer during Bansko Nomad Fest. What makes Bansko a 10 for me is you get European quality at non-European prices. You have the mountains for hiking, great food and coffee in town, reliable infrastructure. The Wi-Fi, the power, the safety, it all just works. It's easy to establish routines and find your favorite spots. And there's a built-in nomad community without it feeling overrun. The downsides? If you need big city nightlife or non-stop novelty, this won't be your place. And it's seasonal. I go in the summer, but there's skiing in the winter if that's your thing. But for sustainable work and life balance plus community, it's tough to beat. Bangkok gets a 9. I was there for a month in November of 2024, and I've made shorter visits too. I paid $1,400 per month for my 1-bedroom apartment in November of 2024, though that same apartment has gone up to $1,600 per month now. I felt totally safe walking around at night, and I never had a call drop on the Wi-Fi. Bangkok also has a strong digital nomad community. And here's my favorite thing about Bangkok. The food is so incredibly good, so I ate out for 95% of my meals and still saved money compared to my normal budget. Despite Bangkok's reputation for being overwhelming, I don't think it's that chaotic. It's easier than people think. What doesn't work for me is that it's not very walkable. You're going to need transit or grab bikes regularly, and traffic can be intense. It's also hot and humid, and air quality can be an issue. But honestly, the food alone makes it worth it. Would I live in Bangkok full-time? Probably not. Will I continue to return? Absolutely. Tallinn gets a 9. I was there in September 2023. We paid $2,051 for a 2-bedroom apartment. My mom was coming to visit for part of the month, so we needed the extra space. The apartment also had a built-in sauna that we used nightly. I wouldn't hesitate walking home at night here, and I had zero work stress from infrastructure. Working from our accommodation was easy. Tallinn has a chilled, nice, quiet vibe. The old town is very walkable, and everything is organized and efficient. There's only a small nomad community, but it's a beautiful city with interesting history and culture. The food scene is pretty good too. The downside is it can feel quiet or sleepy if you're looking for energy. It is more expensive compared to other options. And it's cold in the winter. But if you want safety, beauty, and Northern European efficiency, Tallinn works very well. Rethymno, Crete is one of those places that just feels right. The pace of life, the food, the people, the beaches, the scenery. It all works together really nicely. I was there in September 2021 and paid $1,100 a month for a private room. It's very safe. There's some nomad community, but it's not overwhelming. The natural beauty is stunning. The food and wine are excellent. It's relatively affordable and has this relaxed Mediterranean pace that makes everything easier. However, you may feel like you need a car or scooter. I rented a car for my month there. And the Wi-Fi can be problematic for video calls. It's a seasonal destination, so it's also very quiet in the winter. And you won't find many co-working options. But if you want that Mediterranean lifestyle with beach and mountains, Crete is a 9. Mauritius is a 9 for me. I was there in January and February 2022 with Wi-Fi Tribe. I paid $2,030 a month for my private room. It's very safe, very laid back. The Wi-Fi was solid for work, and I had a built-in nomad community through Wi-Fi Tribe. The sunsets in Mauritius are some of the best I've seen in the world. Truly phenomenal. Every single night. I got my dive master certification in Mauritius, went on amazing hikes, went kite surfing, and even flew a float plane. The downsides are that it's not very walkable, so you will probably need to rent transportation. I rented a car for my month here. Because of that, it can be an expensive destination for solo travelers, so traveling with Wi-Fi Tribe helped a lot with that, even though I was paying a premium for my accommodation. But if you love the ocean, diving, and outdoor activities, Mauritius is worth it. Chamonix was one of my favorite months. I was there in August 2018 and stayed outside of the city to save money on accommodation. Our one-bedroom chalet cost $14.85 for the month. What stood out was the beautiful scenery, all the great food, and I was taking French lessons twice a week, which made it feel more immersive. It's very safe, and the Wi-Fi was good. The hiking and rock climbing in the area are world-class. The downside is it's expensive. If you stay outside of Chamonix, like we did, you'll need a car to get around, and there's effectively no nomad community. But if you love the mountains and you want that European Alps experience, it's a 9. Okay, now we're moving into destinations I loved, but wouldn't build my life around. These are great places with one major compromise. Bali is nice, but it's a bit overhyped in my opinion. I was there in February and March 2023. I hotel hopped using points redemptions, which means the time we spent there cost almost nothing for accommodation, and we got to stay in some really cool places. But I probably wouldn't choose Bali for an extended period of time otherwise. It's very safe, the Wi-Fi is good, and it's super easy to meet people with tons of co-working and community options. But it's not walkable, and it can feel crowded and touristy in the popular areas. Istanbul also gets an 8. I was there in September 2022. It's safe, but it can be a bit hassly, especially as a woman. You might have to deal with more attention than you want sometimes. It's not unsafe, just a little bit annoying, in my opinion. But food is great, transportation is excellent, and it's great value for money. The challenge is, it's a massive city, so even meeting up with someone across town can take 60 to 90 minutes or more. Wellington is really chilled and laid back. I was there in January and February 2023. I felt completely safe, and the Wi-Fi was solid. There are amazing hikes nearby, and the coffee culture is incredible. But here's the thing. The time zone was brutal for my US work calls. I had to wake up around 3:30 a.m. at least weekly, and it's on the expensive side. But if you don't have strict US time zone requirements and you love the outdoors, it's an 8. I loved Edinburgh, but I was there during the Fringe Festival in September 2022, which made it very crowded and very expensive. I paid $2,800 for the month for a private room, which is my most expensive month of accommodation ever. It's a beautiful, historic, walkable city, and it's safe. There's great cafe culture, but I wouldn't stay during Fringe or high season for a whole month. A weekend? Absolutely. Otherwise, I'd try to go back during shoulder season. Now we're getting into destinations that were right for a specific moment, but not ones I would prioritize returning to anytime soon. These were places where timing or circumstances mattered more than the place itself. Santa Teresa was great when I was there in December 2019. I paid $850 a month for a shared room with Wi-Fi Tribe. Beautiful beach town, perfect weather, great surf. But from what I hear about current prices, like $4,000 a month or more, I wouldn't pay that premium now. There are better value destinations. This is a great example of how destinations change over time. Playa del Carmen saved me during COVID. I was there from July 2020 to January 2021, 6 months in total. It was open when everywhere else was closed. And honestly, the timing made it magical. I got to dive some of the most popular cenotes without any other divers around. But that's the thing. It was good because of the unique circumstances. The city itself has gotten way more crowded and touristy since then. It's also gotten more expensive, though it is still relatively affordable. Though you do have to pay attention to safety depending on where you are. Would I go back for an extended stay? Probably not. But I'm grateful it was there when I needed it. Seoul was safe, clean, and the metro system made getting around easy. I was there in April 2023 and paid about $2,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment that I shared with Kevin, my dad, and some friends visiting. Here's the thing about Seoul. The city itself wasn't the problem. There's incredible food, tons to do, and it's fascinating. But our experience came down to where we chose to stay. We picked a very central area thinking it would make everything easier, and it did for transit. But the neighborhood was very quiet after businesses closed in the evening, and our apartment was tiny because we were in the city center. There's a small nomad community. We had a couple of friends in town, but it's not a major hub like Bangkok or Bali. And honestly, I think if we'd stayed in a different neighborhood with more character and a bigger apartment, it easily could have been an 8. It's a 7 because the experience was good, but didn't live up to what it could have been. And that's on us for not researching the neighborhood better. I'd go back, but I'd definitely choose a different area to stay in. And keep watching because this next city completely broke my work setup in a way I wasn't prepared for. Let's talk about Lagos. Not Portugal, Nigeria. For remote work, Lagos gets a 2 out of 10. I went there in January and February 2024, and here's why it's so low. The power situation destroyed our sleep and productivity. We only had city power for 4 to 6 hours a day. Our building had a generator, but it was manual. Someone had to physically start it, and we had to flip a switch in our apartment. When fuel shortages hit, which happened regularly, the generator couldn't run. That meant no AC, no fans, and we couldn't charge our computers. Even when fuel was available, the generator wasn't always started at night, so we'd wake up sweating with no way to cool down. But the Wi-Fi was actually excellent the entire time because it ran on a battery-powered router. But when you can't sleep and your laptop is dead because the generator didn't run, good Wi-Fi doesn't really matter. Safety was also a concern. We only went out in daylight, and we always went out together. The traffic was brutal, and there's no nomad community to speak of. But here's the thing, the food is absolutely amazing. One of my West Africa favorites. Lagos is one of the most interesting places I've been. Culturally, it's fascinating. And by the end of the month, we had found resources for really cool events like pop-up restaurants. So, would I go back? Yes, but as a tourist, not a remote worker. I'd love to travel around Nigeria more and explore, but I would not work in Lagos again if I had a choice. If I did go back to Lagos to work again, I'd choose to stay in a nicer area like Lagos Island or Victoria Island where the infrastructure is better. Your experience could be completely different depending on where you decide to stay and how much infrastructure uncertainty you can handle. But for calls in the area we lived in, this didn't work super well. This is the most important lesson from this whole ranking. Some places are incredible to visit, but they don't work well for remote work. And that's okay. You just need to know the difference. Those are my honest rankings after 12 years of living this life. Your priorities might be different, and that's totally fine. Maybe you don't care about nomad community. Maybe you need perfect Wi-Fi for calls. Maybe cost is your #1 factor. Whatever it is, I hope this helped you figure out what questions to ask before you commit to a month in a city. Which of these cities would you try living in first? Let me know in the comments. And if there's a city you want me to review, let me know where I should spend a month this year. And hit subscribe for more honest digital nomad content.